Donald Trump declares that he'll be arrested today. Will he? Chris Rock, meanwhile, calls all the lawmakers trying to arrest him stupid. We got to break all this down. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor. Look, I don't typically do politics, but this news story is everywhere, and we have the expert Christopher Melcher here. How you doing, Chris?
Pretty good, Andy. Yeah, it's I know we've been talking about
something we avoid.
Yeah. This is definitely different, but it's super interesting, and I think it's worthwhile going through.
Yeah, we're going to go through. Look, I'm going to try to do this as unbiasedly as possible. I've not hid my disdain of Donald Trump. However, that doesn't mean I disdain all of his voters and everybody else. I try to give everybody benefit of the doubt. You guys are allowed to vote for who you vote for. That's always how I believe. And I thought what was interesting spin to this story was actually reacting to what Chris Rock just did last night at the Kennedy Center Honors in front of a lot of these politicians and lawmakers. He called them stupid. And I wanted to talk to Christopher. Is he right? Before we get to what's happening with Trump, is he actually going to get arrested, our thoughts and all that, and Christopher's legal analysis here, I wanted to break down these jabs from Chris Rock. Are you guys really going to arrest Trump, Rock asked the crowd, including Nancy Pelosi, who was in the audience. Do you know that this is only going to make him more popular? It's like arresting Tupac Shakur. He quipped, the late rapper. He's just going to sell more records. Are you stupid? He said to apparent roar of laughter in the crowd. He also poked fun at the expected charges of Trump, 76, allegedly paying hush money to Stormy Daniels to try and kill her affair claims in the run-up to his 2016 election. He joked that the future president effed a porn star and paid off someone so his wife couldn't find out. That's romantic, Rock joked. We've all been cheated on. Don't you wish that person that cheated on you paid off somebody so you wouldn't find out? Trump was far from the only politician he was focused on. He also took a shot at Biden, the oldest ever commander-in-chief. Trump was so bad as a president. He was so bad that Joe Biden had to burst off a monument. Biden was dead for 16 years, Rock quipped. He also gave a shout out to Pelosi's husband, Paul, jokingly comparing his home invasion hammer attack to Rock's own high-profile attack with Smith. Paul Pelosi, the only guy who knows how I felt, quipped Rock, who was sitting there in front with his wife. Just me and you, Paul, he joked. So that will be aired on CNN on Sunday as part of this, the Kennedy Center Honors, I guess. That was, they were awarding Adam Sandler?
Mark Twain Award.
I don't know anymore. Why? I guess he was there. But anyway, kudos to Sandler. Sandler also backed up Chris Rock's special, so they have each other's back. They've been friends for a while. But I guess, Christopher, that's what I want to go to. Is Chris Rock right? Is this stupid? Will this only amp up his base and give him more of a chance to win this election? Can you break down what's actually happening for us with this arrest?
Yeah,
so I guess before. Yeah, go ahead.
Just pivoting off of Chris Rock's comments, number one, it's like, look, this is a New York prosecution or potential prosecution. And obviously there's a lot of crime in New York City, just like there is in every other major city. So for me, look, hey, if they got all their crime under control and they got extra time and resources to put on to something like this, then great. But they don't have their crime under control. So to me, just as a use of resources, I think they should be spending that on basic public safety. You can go out and walk your dog and not get mugged or hurt. That's where they should be spending it. Get that under control before they're doing something like this. On this other point, which is going to make him more popular, he's already gone out and this story here that you have on the screen from BBC is he proclaimed late last week that he was going to be arrested on Tuesday, and that's got a lot of people upset or interested in this. Now, his own lawyer came out and acknowledged that there was never any communication from the prosecutor or law enforcement that there was going to be arrest on Tuesday. That's just not happening. I mean, here it is Tuesday. I don't think there's any chance of this happening today. What was happening today is they're ending the grand jury. So they're bringing in, they brought in a whole bunch of witnesses. The New York prosecutor impaneled this grand jury. They have presentation of evidence. That grand jury deliberates and makes a decision. And if they give what's called a true bill of indictment, they would say, okay, fine, you've proved that a crime occurred. And then they would go ahead and file on that. So at most, that could happen maybe this week. And then they would have to come up with the arrangements on how to book him. So he has to be fingerprinted, photographed, with a mugshot, and then he has to be brought before a judge to be told what the charges are and enter a plea. Normally that's done in person, the so-called perp walk, and that's on video. They could make exceptions though and do this remotely, I would think, or in stages so that we don't have this big spectacle. And more importantly, we don't have a public safety issue, because I would imagine there's going to be throngs of people going down there protesting, hopefully peacefully, but maybe some might try to actually get into the building and bring him out. You just don't know. I mean, it already happened on January 6th. So this is a huge, huge deal for public safety and law enforcement if they decide to actually arrest him. And again, going back to Chris Rock's point, for what? What is the purpose of all this? And does it actually help Trump? So that's the kind of background or framework that we're sitting in. We can go into like what is actually this charge, because he is facing multiple investigations. This is one relating to Stormy Daniels from 2016. So we're 7 years ago is this thing that we're talking about today.
Yeah. So just so I guess so people do know, this is for the alleged hush money that he paid her to hide this affair. I guess, is that actually going to net out? Are they going to be able to prove this? Will this be the thing that actually gets Trump elected? It just seems like, of all the charges and things that people have issues with Trump with, why are we surprised he was cheating? I guess the issue is obviously, was he using campaign money to put that away? The whole thing just seems silly to me. Like Clinton went through a similar, he granted that was people are trying to compare that too, but Clinton paid Paula Jones, I guess the whole thing through a civil settlement later after she, I guess, lost. I've been trying to update my whole thing, but these are separate cases. But the bottom line is presidents have had affairs. They've paid off their people. Is this really the thing that should take down Trump, in your opinion? What's going on here?
Yeah, the thing is, this is very complicated use of campaign finance law. So just to back up a step on what they're trying to do, let's give a very basic example of how like a normal finance law or campaign finance prosecution would work. It'd be, real estate developer giving a sack of cash to a council member to get approval of some project. And the cash exceeds the amount that can be contributed and it isn't disclosed. It's clearly an illegal contribution. Here, Donald Trump used his own money. There's a $130,000 payment that gets filtered or siphoned off of his money through Michael Cohen, through this other company, to Stormy Daniels. So he's not using somebody else's money. It's his own money. There's no limit on how much he could have contributed to his own campaign. So we don't have a limit issue. We have a disclosure issue. So what the prosecution is saying is that he was concerned, Donald Trump was concerned, that if the Stormy Daniels information came out, that it would affect his ability to be elected. He had just gotten off the Access Hollywood scandal where, there was a tape of him saying some horrific stuff. That came out. Somehow he survived that scandal. And then the Stormy Daniels thing was brewing, and he didn't want that coming out. Now, Donald Trump's going to say, well, yeah, I didn't want it coming out because I'm married and it's embarrassing to me and my family. And this was a personal expenditure of me just trying to keep my personal business quiet. The prosecution is going to say, no, you wanted to get elected and you were concerned that if this information came out, you would not get elected. So you contributed $130,000 to essentially your campaign to help you get elected. By killing this story. And the crime was not disclosing it. And they'll say that had he disclosed the $130,000 payment, well, we would have all seen this $130,000 campaign expenditure. People would have asked and investigated, and they would have found out. So that's why he couldn't disclose it. Again, this is so complicated, and how they're going to prove his motive, because to get a felony, they have to prove that he had an intent to violate campaign finance law when he has another reason for making the payment, which was to keep it quiet from his wife and kids and family. So I think it's going to be very difficult to prosecute. And so, like, I am with Chris Rock on this. And again, it's not from a political standpoint. I'm right down the middle, totally neutral on the political issues. It's just like, we have better things. I think New York has better things to do with its law enforcement resources than to go after this prosecution, because I think it's going to be very difficult to prove up.
Plus, both lawyers are now right in jail. We got Michael Cohen, Trump's lawyer, and then you got Avenatti, who is screwed. It's just like the whole thing is a mess. This is a mess. This seems like such a distraction, and I agree. It's only going to give his supporters more. Again, it should be what's justice, right? Let's do it right. I just feel like this, of all the things that I've heard people try to go after Trump for, this one seems like it's going to blow up in their faces and really, again, give them more ammo to say, see, they're out to get me. And it looks like they are. So I don't like Trump. I've said that. I know a lot of people do, but that's the update here. And I am with Chris Rock as well. This whole thing just seems stupid in this particular instance. I'm curious what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm sure it's going to get ugly down there, but try to be civil between each other. Any final words, Christopher, from you as we wrap up this segment?
No, we'll see this. I know, like I say, it's unusual to delve into the political stories, but there's a lot going on here. So I'm glad we were able to talk about it.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Make sure you go support Christopher over on Twitter. You can follow him at CA_divorce. Always appreciate his down the line fair coverage and appreciate you guys. Let's see if we can be civil down below. Make sure before you go comment, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for all alerts, smash that like button. We cover it all here. We're not afraid. So support if you can. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you live later today as we discuss this and so much news here on Popcorn Planet.